You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, we've got a lot to talk about on the podcast today. We're going to start with Ron DeSantis, who is, sadly, our governor here in Florida, Benedict Arnold, a traitor, who spent the last few months trying to destroy the MAGA movement and undermine President Trump, and he lied to us here in Florida. He's just a terrible person. And there's an article in Newsweek, and the headline of the article, we're going to go through this article, but the headline of the article, Ron DeSantis's campaign is imploding. And this is very, very important. Newsweek, which I don't know if it exists as a print magazine anymore. I think it's just the website, but this is at newsweek.com. Newsweek is liberal. They hate Trump like the plague, all right? So for a liberal publication to write an article that's truthful about the pathetic campaign of Ron DeSantis is very significant.
They even quoted somebody from the Lincoln Project saying that his campaign is falling apart because what's happening is the poll numbers are going down so much that it's not going well.
When you have the Lincoln Project and you have liberals joining forces to tell you the truth about Ron DeSantis's campaign, you know it's bad.
Yeah,
because they grab onto anything they can grab onto to hurt Trump.
True.
And DeSantis, he's done. So let's go through this article. This is Newsweek. Having previously been touted as the GOP's next presidential hopeful, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' White House bid has been floundering over the past few months, with even Republican figures casting doubt on the future of his campaign. And I've been saying for weeks, he's unelectable forever. He is so unpopular, even in Florida. You know, Lindsey Graham got booed at the Trump rally in South Carolina on Saturday, and that was significant because Lindsey Graham's the senator from South Carolina. So those are his people, his constituents. Yeah. If Ron DeSantis had an event like that, where the public was invited and wasn't a controlled event with sycophants, he'd get booed here in Florida. In late 2022, DeSantis was seen as the ready-made replacement for Donald Trump, this is Newsweek, to lead the Republican Party at the 2024 election. The former president was widely blamed, including by those for the party's poor midterm performance, and continues to face prosecution in a string of criminal investigations, which are all BS, of course. However, DeSantis, listen to this, DeSantis has failed to take advantage of Trump getting indicted in both the New York falsifying business records case and the special counsel Jack Smith's classified documents investigation, where the former president has denied 37 charges, respectively. DeSantis has not made any traction in the GOP primary polls, while also seeing his favorability rating plummet. Just 35.9% of Americans hold a favorable view of DeSantis, compared to 45.2% who say they view him unfavorably as of June 29th, according to 538's national average tracker, although experts point out the campaign is still in its early stages. I love this. Before he announced and he was way down in the polls, they said, well, he hasn't announced yet. So once he announces, and now that he's announced, what do they say now? The campaign's in its early stages. It seems like it's been going on for months. DeSantis' unfavorable rating among potential voters has been steadily rising since late March, when he recorded a split 39.3% favorable rating. This includes the time after he confirmed his run. DeSantis' favorability rating also arrives at a time when the governor has signed several anti-LGBT laws during his tenure. Newsweek has contacted DeSantis' office for comment via email, but I guess they haven't heard back. The DeSantis' War Room team released an advert on Friday, the last day of Pride Month. It criticized Trump for comments he made in support of the LGBTQ plus community. Okay. There's a clip of Trump saying good things about the LGBTQ. That was right after that Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida. So it was after a mass shooting where 49, if I remember correctly, were murdered in that nightclub. So that is, you want to talk about misleading propaganda.
Plus, and I think trying to divide the Republican Party over that issue is ridiculous and very dated. But most Republicans are, outward, pretty accepting of the gay community now. And I think trying to lump in these crazy left lunatics in with the LGBT community, they're not all like that. And I think if that's all he can get on Trump, it's weak. Yeah. It's weak because I think that's going to fall flat. I think it's an issue that most people really aren't terribly concerned with. And Trump has even said that he will not, that he will pass laws where you cannot have gender affirming surgery until you're 18. And he has talked about things going on in schools and things like that. So I think trying to garner votes from Trump using the gay issue is not, it's not going to go anywhere. It's a dated, stupid concept.
And this is the thing with, there's a lot going on with DeSantis, okay, on this gay stuff, okay? I was talking about this a couple weeks ago. The people that are running DeSantis' campaign are these old people from the Bush era.
Exactly.
They're out of date. So this anti-gay stuff that they're harping on, it's out of the 90s.
That's right.
Because
That's
the people that are running his campaigin, they were at their peak in the 90s.
Exactly.
So they got an out-of-date campaign with a bunch of old fogies. And these Republican establishment people that hate MAGA think MAGA are a bunch of homophobes, so they think this will help. Now, here in Florida, because we're in the beginning of July, all of the laws that Ron DeSantis, all the bills DeSantis signed into law during the Florida legislative session went into effect on July 1st, Saturday, July 1st. And some of them are really good. There's 3 in particular, and they're very good conservative things that anyone who's MAGA, anyone who's conservative would like.
Can I say one thing about that article before you move on?
Yeah.
There was somebody else, if you read, I put it in your Facebook group because it's a very long article.
Yeah.
And if you go down and read past what we talked about, they quoted, like I said, somebody from the Lincoln Project and a few other conservatives. And one of them, they did make the comment, like Brian said, that it's just the beginning. That's Jeb Bush talking.
Yeah.
But they had two on there that were former senators or something, Republican politicians. And one of them said he thinks that DeSantis his campaign is going to fizzle by the end of the year because he's going to run out of money. And the other one said that he's going to end up dropping out because his poll numbers are not. Here's the problem. If he can't get the poll numbers up, he's going to stop getting money. You can run out of $100 million pretty quickly. Okay. I mean, advertising is not cheap. And they go through that money fast. They have to have the money has to keep coming in. They got to fly around the country and do appearances and all this stuff. And if they cannot bring in money, let me tell you, if his poll numbers do not go up, these big donors are not going to keep throwing money at this guy because it's a waste of money. It's all about the money. I mean,
well,
DeSantis
is he's kind of locked in right now. The best thing, and again, we're in Florida.
He's screwed.
We know what's going on. What DeSantis and his team are probably hoping for, I know this will sound crazy, and I don't want this to happen because we're in Florida, but the best thing that could happen for DeSantis to get out is to have a massive hurricane hit Florida, so that he has to get involved with that, and he can say, I can't campaign. I got to take care of Florida because we just had this hurricane. Right. We're in hurricane season. And let me tell you, we haven't had any storms yet, but it's been raining, and we've had some really bad thunderstorms. And that's the only thing that he could get out of the campaign and save face, a massive hurricane.
I was going to say, aside from that, what excuse could he get? Okay, I'm predicting, because he is going to bow out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm predicting, I don't think it's going to be a hurricane. It's going to be his wife's health.
Oh, yeah, she had cancer.
Or more time with the family.
She had cancer.
One or the other.
More time with the family sounds like a guy having an affair.
That's what everybody says.
He'll still be governor.
Right, but that's, to me, his top excuses that he'll use to get out of
hurricane, wives' health.
Well, you have to have a hurricane happen. They don't always hit Florida, but he's going to have to drop out eventually.
Well, he's got to drop.
Going anywhere.
He's got to drop out before the Florida primary, but that's not until next summer,
right?
Because if he loses that, but the Ron DeSantis, he has a big problem. We're not sure how aware he is of what's going on and how bad it is for him. But he's unelectable forever. He's burned so many bridges.
Yeah.
His opportunities after his second term of governor are very, very few. He might have to actually just go back to practicing law like a regular guy as opposed to –
oh my goodness.
But anyway, all the bills he signed into law went into effect on July 1st.
Right.
And just a couple days ago. And there's 3 of them that are very, very good and very conservative that all conservatives, all MAGA people will love. I'm going to go through those right now. But don't be fooled by Ron DeSantis. He's a Benedict Arnold, and he cannot be trusted. So even though he has these 3 bills that have become law here in Florida that he may jump on and say, look, I'm conservative. Okay, one of them I was talking about this morning. We now have concealed carry in Florida without a permit. And he had promised open carry. That didn't happen, but we got concealed carry without a permit. That's a big move in Florida because we've had concealed carry with a permit forever, but now without a permit, that's a great step. And maybe down the road, open carry. I support open carry.
I do too.
And the reason I support open carry is it's a bit selfish. But in Florida, it's hot. Right now, we're in the summertime. It's in the 90s today, and we have something called the heat index. That's what the temperature really feels like.
Right.
It feels like it's 100, 102 every day. And the clothes to carry a weapon concealed are not always convenient because we wear a lot of summer like beach stuff around town to work because it's so hot. But anyway, so that's the first one. Concealed carry.
Most Floridians don't even own a coat or wear jackets.
No.
We're maybe 6 weeks out of the year.
So out of these 3 bills, the first one is concealed carry without a permit, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
The second one is there's now a law in public bathrooms. Men cannot use the ladies' room
That's a good law.
In public bathrooms.
That's good.
That's a big one. And I hope that is enforced.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. It also expands to locker rooms and stuff in the public schools
It'll
and universities.
It'll allow schools and businesses to enforce that.
Yeah.
Now that
So
it's the law,
that's a big one, and that's very conservative.
Yeah.
And then a third one, which there have been protests all over this state against Ron DeSantis over the weekend. Protests probably organized by the Koch brothers and Bush because they're so desperate to save him, But he also signed a bill into law, which went into effect on July 1st, on Saturday, that out-of-state driver's licenses held by illegals are not recognized in Florida. Anyone who employs illegals faces severe fines, and that means even guys that hire illegals from daily work pools have in very high fines and penalties.
And they even have to show their ID at a hospital.
Well, that's part of the same law.
Yeah.
If you go to a hospital, you have to show ID, and the hospital has to verify your identification. And if you're an illegal, they have to make note of that. So these are very, very conservative MAGA laws, and what a lot of employers in the construction business, restaurant business, and a lot of these illegal activists have been talking about how illegals are leaving Florida, and they have a lot of jobs in the service industry, tourist industry, and the farm industry. I saw one woman on TV on the local news today. She was interviewed, and she's an illegal, and she's like, "Well, I'm going to have to leave," and she was, and all of this, and so a lot of illegals are going to be leaving because they're not going to be able to get work in Florida under these laws. But don't be fooled by Ron DeSantis. Just because he did these conservative things, he cannot be trusted. And he's just I've never seen someone that held elective office burn themselves like this so bad. He could have gotten arrested in a men's room soliciting sex from a male undercover police officer and not be in the trouble he's in right now with conservative voters.
And I've said this before. He just should have waited. I mean, he just should have waited till 2028, and it would have been a slam dunk for him if he would have stayed on the Trump train. Even, we all know he's a fraud now, but even if he would have continued to pretend like he's always done, because he does pass good legislation, but you have to keep in mind, he has a very friendly group of legislators in Florida, okay? I mean, they're going to pass pretty much, they're all in agreement. And I've been pointing that out for a long time. And then I heard somebody point it out on some show a couple weeks ago or whatever I was watching. And they said the same thing. They said he has a very friendly legislature. That's why everything he wants is getting passed. It's not going to be that way if he became the president, and he's very used to getting his own way politically because it's a red state with a red legislature. They're going to pass, like I said, they're all in agreement here. So that's deceptive too. You know, it's not like he's going to go to Washington and he's going to have a lot of resistance.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And if he seems to have a real thing for this gay movement. I don't know. To me, it's kind of a ridiculous thing. But what's really strange is the whole article about Newsweek is he retweeted this campaign ad that I think he thought made Trump look bad. It showed clips of Trump, you know, like being supportive, like talking about Caitlyn Jenner and all this stuff and the quote after the shooting in Orlando. But then it had clips comparing him to the American Psycho guy, Christian Bale, his character. It had a lot of weird clips of him with bodybuilders and weird stuff that I don't think made DeSantis look good at all. I mean, I don't understand why he retweeted this. It was bizarre. He's a strange dude. Yeah. And I think what's happening, you and I talked about this, he's going around campaigning, right? And he's going to places in New Hampshire and all this stuff. Meanwhile, I have yet to see a really big campaign event in a while, in like a month. And the ones he did have were indoors, and they were like half filled with his support, like his crew, you know, his entourage. Yeah. And those campaign events are very deceptive because they're in a building and they're on a stage and the cameras zoom right in. So they're just going to show you people that are way, way up front. But I think what you said is happening. He's meeting people and they just don't like him. He's not likable.
He's weird.
And he's meeting other people and donors, and he's just not a likable, affable guy. And I have to say about Trump's rally, it was amazing in South Carolina. And I think whoever gave him the idea of having rallies on Main Street, USA, was brilliant. And I think he should do that because I noticed his last campaign out in a field, out in the middle of nowhere. It was not as full as it normally is. And I think the reason is it's hard to get to those places. And a lot of people have been to 5-6 rallies. And it's not that they don't support Trump, but they might just be like, you know what? I don't want to spend 3 hours in the car. I think having it on a main street of a small town where the whole town can come out. I mean, you got 10,000 people just in the town that are going to come to this big event. Bring in business to the town and have it right on the main stretch. My best friend lives in a town like that where it's like literally a one traffic light and it's like the main street. You know, she's in a very small town in Utah. I think that's a brilliant idea, don't you? Whose ever idea that was to go around these small towns where the whole town comes out in neighboring towns.
Yeah.
The place was, you had a caller today that said there were like 70,000 people there.
I had a listener who traveled from Baltimore to Pickens, South Carolina for the rally.
That's incredible.
And she said there had to be at least 70,000 people there.
You could see down the street it went for miles.
And it's a financial boom too.
Exactly.
They had to pay $50 to park in some guy's field. Everybody in this field paid $50. That town made a lot of money.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Which by the way,
made a fortune.
It's not just a great economic boom for a town during this Biden recession. It helps firm up that town. It makes them love Trump even more because they made all that money when he came to town. This
it was a great city because
this
it was
rally
named after a Revolutionary War general.
This rally thing he did in Pickens, if he does that in every city, goes into the middle of town.
Great idea.
I think that's super cool. Now I want to tell everyone there's an amazing sale that's up at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, Kane at checkout for the 4th of July. This is a big one, and it's unique, and it's with something you probably haven't heard me talk about too much. The MyPillow mattresses. I'm not talking about the mattress topper. The MyPillow mattresses. You know, Mike Lindell has incredible mattresses. Steve bought one of these mattresses for his daughter. He has coil mattresses. He has foam mattresses. He has all different kinds of mattresses in every mattress size. And if you go to MyPillow.com and look at the mattresses, whatever type of mattress there is, Mike Lindell has one. Listen to this. This is amazing. All of the MyPillow mattresses, not the mattress. I'm not talking about the mattress topper. This is the MyPillow mattresses. All of the MyPillow mattresses are 50% off right now, plus another $100. 50% off plus another $100.
Wow!
And on orders over $150, there's free shipping. So the MyPillow mattresses, not the mattress toppers, the mattresses, all kinds, coil, foam, whatever kind he has, and he has some really upscale mattresses too. 50% off plus $100, and on orders of $150 or more, free shipping. It's a great deal with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And remember, when you're doing that, you're supporting this program and all of the content I'm connected to, the radio show, my YouTube channel, the podcast here with Kathy, when you use our promo code Kane at checkout. Now, this is the most incredible special I've ever seen Mike Lindell offer on the mattresses. That's why I don't hear me talk about the mattresses too much.
If you need a mattress, now's the time to get it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a great deal.
This is amazing. 50% off plus $100, and on orders over $150, free shipping with our promo code Kane, Kane at MyPillow.com. Now, I want to mention something that's going on with Nigel Farage, and this is insane in the UK. Nigel Farage had happened to him what happened to Mike Lindell. He got a letter from his bank that they were closing out his account, and they didn't give him an explanation. Goodness. They just said they're doing it. And Nigel Farage went to 7 other banks. They wouldn't let him open up accounts, either personal or business. And this is awful. This is something that's happened to others that are outspoken conservatives in the UK. They have this term that they use. They deem you a non-person, and you can't function. Who started that? Who did that to him? Whose idea was this? We don't know. We don't know who's behind it. But apparently there's a conspiracy among all the banks in England. I guess so. Because the other ones would not even allow him to open up an account. So Nigel Farage, though, they messed with the wrong guy, because not only is he very vocal, and this has become an international story. Oh, yeah. There are officials inside the British government that are looking into this, because this is unheard of. Now, it's happened here in this country to Mike Lindell, and it's happened to Laura Loomer. Yeah. And I've heard this kind of thing happening, but it's happening in the UK right now with Nigel Farage and others. But he's, Tommy Robinson, has happened to. Oh, yeah. But Nigel Farage is, in a way, I'm almost glad it's happening to Nigel Farage, because he can draw so much attention to this new tactic that he could stop it from happening. I mean, this, in today's society, there's certain things you have to be able to do to function, and one of them is have a bank. And if all the banks in your country won't do business with you, it makes it difficult for you to live in that country.
Well, now I'm concerned because of the Supreme Court ruling, and I agree with it, but still concerned of that baker or that website designer who they ruled did not have to create a website. And I agree with that, because you're creating something. It's, to me, not the same as denying business. You're creating something.
Banks are different, Kathy.
No, but I'm saying is I'm concerned that other businesses, like banks or privately owned, are going to start not servicing people based on politics, which I can see happening. Well, with a bank, you're a Trump supporter, you're not going in.
With a bank, banks are insured by the federal government here in this country, right. So the federal government has some oversight. If you're dealing, there's a connection to the government, right? It's, okay, but so far as private business, I mean, what's happened with the website developers, okay? Yeah. These people get targeted. People find out and all they have to do is go into the Christian business directory. They find all the Christian businesses and they start targeting them.
They're trying to say that she made it up.
And as soon as they get denied service, they sue. And, like the people with the gay wedding cake, right. I don't even know if they ever got married. Were they even really engaged, or they just go in to get the gay wedding cake? But I've never seen any follow-up. And I know that Rosa Parks set up the thing with getting kicked off the bus and everything. I get that, and they think they're that. But black people could not sit at the front of the bus. And so what you have going on is you have rabid gay activists who are creating incidents of discrimination that very well may not even exist.
Do you think that it's okay for say we eat at Chipotle? So say we went into Chipotle one time and you accidentally had your MAGA hat on, and they had a policy that MAGA is dangerous and they won't serve you anymore. Would that bother you? I mean, that's discrimination.
It wouldn't bother me, and I'll tell you why. I'd be very happy to know that because I wouldn't trust them to make my food. I wouldn't want to eat food that they prepared.
But what if a bunch of restaurants started doing that across the board? They're trying to
leave my
label
MAGA hat in the car.
Dangerous.
Well, that's what's happening to Nigel Farage. It's a similar thing.
Exactly.
Declare you a non-person.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm worried about the Supreme Court thing having a ripple effect.
When we go to a lot of places, I don't wear my MAGA hat or a Trump shirt when we go out to restaurants.
But you should be able to.
You should be able to.
But I'm worried about this. Because I saw a picture of somebody had a business and they said,
that's
due
different,
to the
Kathy.
Supreme Court, we're no longer serving Trump supporters.
That's different, okay? When you're talking about a website or you're talking about a wedding cake, you've got to create a special thing unique to that.
No, I understand that,
behavior
but people are going to
or
take
thing.
advantage of this Supreme Court ruling is what I'm saying.
If you go to Chipotle, we're not going in there and asking for a special type of MAGA burrito bowl. We're just asking for the same burrito bowl that they would normally make.
Right.
So it's not the same thing.
Meanwhile, if you went to a gay baker and said, I want a Trump cake, somebody who's like a hardcore liberal and said, I want a MAGA cake, and they refused, would you, if you're a Democrat, would you be like, yeah, good for them? I mean, that's the way it goes. Look, I think if you own a private business, you should be allowed to turn down. But obviously, you don't want to get into that area where you're discriminating against people. The person with the cake, the difference was she said you can have any cake here. She didn't refuse, or he didn't refuse to sell them a cake. He said you can have any cake here, but I'm not making the gay wedding cake. It's against my religion because you'd have to create something. But he said you can have a cake here. You can have another kind of cake.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. I think as a business owner, you have that right. But now I'm seeing signs of business owners that are saying we're not going to serve Trump supporters.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And what I am concerned, and that's fine, but what I'm concerned about is what if the banks start saying, well, if we know you're a MAGA supporter, or if we've seen that you've donated money to a Trump campaign, because they know what's your money's going and where we're closing your account. I could see that happening. But maybe not in this country because they lose too much money. I mean, that's half the country. The banks would shut down.
They've done it.
But it's scary that they're targeting.
They targeted Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell's banked it.
I'm just wondering why they targeted Nigel Farage all of a sudden.
Because he's very outspoken.
Well, that's for sure.
Very outspoken. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Are you looking for high-quality digital content to enhance your personal or commercial products? Look no further than Simply Love PLR, online at simplyloveplr.com. They have a wide range of digital downloads, products you can edit, and courses that cater to your needs. At Simply Love PLR, you'll discover top-notch, done-for-you content that can be easily customized and personalized to make it your own. The PLR and commercial use license content make it a breeze. But wait, there's more. Their printables are perfect for personal use too, adding a touch of creativity to your daily life. And best of all the content is available for immediate download. If you take advantage of their membership, you'll enjoy access to all their products. Visit simplyloveplr.com. Explore the wide variety of offerings, from Bible study templates to types of dogs and cat word search templates, DFY sets, faith journeys, Independence Day word searches, debt trackers, monthly budget templates, and that's just the beginning. simplyloveplr.com is your go-to source for digital downloads. Start creating your own unique masterpieces right now. simplyloveplr.com. Robert Allen Miltenberg invites you to time travel with him to the Roman future. His new novella, available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. It's the golden age of Rome, a time of peace and prosperity. And Scadius Commodius Lavatorius is its greatest scientist. But for all he's achieved, one question haunts him. Will Rome survive the test of time? There's only one way to find out. Come along on this cosmic romp of an adventure. See if you can read the signs any better than a brilliant scientist can. Prediction, science fiction, allegory, national glory. This is a satire at its most gladiatorial. Center stage in the Circus Maximus of your mind. A story of time machines and timeless politics, strange Roman cuisine and gambling parlor tricks, spinning gold and crossing the river Styx. That's the Roman future. Available on Kindle and paperback. Go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble now and visit The Roman Future by Robert Allen Miltenberg today. Are you looking for a reliable taxi service in New York City? Look no further. Syru Taxi has you covered. Online at syrutaxi.com. That's SYRU. Syru Taxi operates in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. And if you're a driver looking for a flexible and rewarding career opportunity, drive with Syru Taxi and take control of your schedule. You can drive when you want and make what you need. Whether you need an SUV, sedan, or any convenient cab type, you can book your immediate ride right from your doorstep. Enjoy the luxury of their rides without breaking the bank. You can also download the Syru Taxi app, available in the Apple app and Google Play Store. So whether you're a passenger looking for a reliable ride or a driver seeking a fulfilling career, Syru Taxi is here for you. Visit syrutaxi.com. That's SYRU, or download the app right now. Syru Taxi, your go-to taxi service in New York City.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right. Now, there's a story out there today that they're making a big deal about, that Joe Manchin may leave the Democrat Party. Don't get too excited. I don't see the story saying Joe Manchin may switch parties and become a Republican. It says Joe Manchin may leave the Democrat Party. There have been Democrats in the Senate on several occasions who have left the Democrat Party. They become independents.
Right.
Okay, they don't become Republicans, they become independents. And then when someone is an independent, they can caucus with either party that they want. It's like Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He's a Democratic socialist. He's like another party, but he caucuses with the Democrats. Joe Lieberman left the Democrat Party and was an independent, but he caucused with the Democrat. So it's really a wimpy move for Manchin to take if he doesn't become a Republican. So don't get excited about that. Okay, now there's an update on Bud Light. Listen to this. Bud Light is now cheaper than water at some retailers after the $20 billion Dylan Mulvaney incident. Some stores report a 50% decline in sales after this marketing gimmick has gone wrong. You know, it's really a sad thing that happened with that, because I know a lot of people have really lost a lot, you know, like local vendors and things.
And they just fired 600 people at one of the plants that makes it. So that's not good.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like boycotts.
Yeah. So I feel so bad for what's happened. And I'm not big into boycotting, but I do support the exodus and boycott of the Fox News channel. And this Bud Light issue, I think it's pretty important, because the reason it's important is because so many people in these corporate Fortune 500 companies get involved in all this virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Even after Bud Light, a lot of them are still doing it. And a message has to be sent that we're not going to put up with this. And,
I agree.
And they went too far. And I'll tell you, when I first saw the Dylan Mulvaney thing, I saw Dylan Mulvaney popped up on my Twitter feed, and I do not follow Dylan Mulvaney. I don't know how this happened. I thought that it was a joke. I thought Dylan Mulvaney, I didn't know Dylan Mulvaney's name, but I recognized them. I mean, I knew of them. I just didn't know their name. And I thought this was just some parody thing that they were doing over with Bud Light. I didn't even occur to me that Bud Light would do something so insane.
But, you know, you've noticed he was the flavor of the month. I mean, he's really not getting any new endorsements anymore. He was getting a ton in like a 2-week stretch, and he probably made about $1 million. Now he's got blonde hair and has had a major makeover and looks more feminine than ever.
So anyway, Bud Light's just, I mean, cheaper than water. You know, cheaper than water is not saying a lot, because some water can be expensive.
I can't think of another marketing decision
Nothing.
that has had such.
Nothing.
This is going to go down in marketing history when you're teaching marketing. They're going to, you know, and I really hope other companies have taken notice. I'm sure they have. There have been a few that have jumped. It's very trendy that have jumped on this, but this was just a colossal screw up.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Of that woman. I mean, is she still with the company? My God.
I don't.
They're probably afraid to fire her. They probably have her stuck in some cubicle
They
somewhere.
put her on leave. I don't know if they've terminated
Nobody's
her.
going to hire her. I mean, oh my goodness gracious.
So Tucker Carlson, his last video was very, very good. And then something has leaked out, a photograph of his first interview. And it's going to be with Andrew Tate, who I know you're not familiar with Andrew Tate, Kathy.
No.
But
what do you mean? A photograph of his first interview with Tucker's
Andrew
first interview?
Tate he's internationally known. He's a kickboxing champion, and he's internationally well-known male chauvinist. And he's
heard of him.
He's always trending. He's very well known around the world. And he's interviewing him, and I mean, it's not the kind of interview I'd like to see Tucker do. It's really just an interview. It's a troll interview. It's an interview to get people searching for him.
Wait, he did this interview recently?
Well, Andrew Tate posted a photo on his Twitter. Andrew Tate has 7 million followers on Twitter. He's always trending. He's huge on Twitter. And he's big in Europe. He's big internationally. And Andrew Tate tweeted a photograph of him being interviewed by Tucker Carlson.
So why did Tucker interview him? I mean, I don't even know who this guy is.
It's trolling. A lot of people do.
Yeah, but why would anybody else care to? Hey, I've never even seen this guy on the news
what'll
or anything.
happen? You just don't follow that kind of news.
I guess not. But the male chauvinist news? No, I don't.
He's been arrested recently and stuff, and accused of all kinds of things. But the reason that Tucker's doing it is because this guy is so big on social media. He's also got like a financial.
Is this the guy that was arrested in Romania or
yes.
something? Why is he interviewing him?
I've been telling you.
Is he supporting him?
I've been telling you.
He was arrested for sex trafficking.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay. I'm trying to tell you here.
Yeah, but that's still not a good reason.
No, the reason he's doing it is Tucker is trolling so that he gets the clout from Andrew Tate. And the people that follow
don't agree with that at all.
Andrew Tate, most of them don't know who Tucker Carlson is. So it's a way for him to expand his reach to a whole new group of people. It's not what I would recommend him doing.
If that's true, that's stupid.
I don't really
that's just stupid.
Like it. That wouldn't be my first interview if I were Tucker.
No, I don't get it. Why? I don't understand that
publicity.
At all. No.
He's doing it for publicity.
Need his publicity. Tucker gets 100 million views on his Twitter videos.
Listen.
It doesn't make sense.
Mr. Beast, it's a funny thing. Mr. Beast is number one on YouTube, right?
That's who he should be interviewing,
and
Mr.
Beast, even though he's number one on YouTube, he was in the news after that Titanic sub thing.
Right.
And hundreds of millions of people have never heard of Mr. Beast.
Right.
So there's hundreds of millions of people online in social media that don't know who Tucker is. So he's just trolling to try to get exposed some other people.
I understand what trolling is, but I don't think that's why he's interviewing him.
Why do you think?
I don't know, but that can't be the reason. He doesn't. Tucker has way more followers than this guy, and
but
way more views.
People.
And why would he interview and give somebody a platform that's been arrested for sex trafficking?
It's a different
Hunter
audience.
would be a more interesting interview than this guy. I don't understand.
I don't
think that's the reason.
Why else could it be? What other reason why?
I don't think he's looking for his supporters. Who wants that kind of support?
He wants them to view his content. He wants them to view his commentaries.
Of all the people in the world,
I
know who you're talking about that you can interview for your first interview.
No, I wouldn't.
That's a stupid move.
No, I wouldn't want to do that.
Whatever the motivation is behind it.
No, I agree.
You guys should Google Andrew Tate. I know exactly. Even our daughter knows who this guy is. Now I know who you're talking about. Google this guy. Would this be your first choice for an interview?
He's one of the most famous people in the world, Andrew Tate.
You mean infamous?
Infamous, yeah.
Well, I think there's more interesting infamous people.
Oh, I agree.
Famous people that can be interviewed. It makes Tucker look very bad. He's already gets a lot of heat for being a chauvinist himself, and I don't think he is. But to interview somebody who's been arrested for sex trafficking, it's like you're validating that person, whether you agree with them or not. I mean, I think that's insanity.
Well, let's see how the interview goes. Let's see how the interview goes first.
Well, whatever happens, they're going to use it to make Tucker look bad.
I don't think it's a good idea.
No,
I don't think it's a good idea.
You would probably tell him that's nuts.
No, I would rather him go to the UK and talk to Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage about this bank account thing.
Well, exactly. Those are political people that have to do with what Tucker is in Tucker's wheelhouse. I don't know why he's interviewing some guy that has been arrested who's a known a-hole and who has been arrested for sex trafficking. That's bizarre to me. I mean, Alex Jones would be a better interview than this guy. At least he's not a sex trafficker.
Yeah, that's
just
like
insane.
Done. Well, he's an accused sex trafficker.
Accused, whatever.
But no, I'm not crazy about it.
Good.
No,
It's still not good. I'm sorry.
I think
Tucker, what are you thinking?
I understand why he's doing it and how it could help him, but it also demeans him.
I don't see how it can help him at all.
What it does is it turns Tucker's show into Jerry Springer. That's not a good thing. No, I saw an Andrew Tate interview recently, which was really. I mean,
that just debases him. His show. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I saw an Andrew Tate interview recently with this girl from the BBC interviewing Andrew Tate, and he just filleted her. She was so unprepared for the interview, and it was fun to watch, even if you don't know who Andrew Tate is.
Let's see if he gives him a hard time.
But I'm not happy that he's doing this. This is not where I want to see Tucker go.
Yeah, we'll see what he does with it. I'm curious. I wouldn't give the guy a platform at all. But I mean, it's
I don't find Andrew Tate interesting.
No,
I liked watching him destroy this BBC reporter because she was so unprepared for the interview.
Who would you interview if you were Tucker? He's already interviewed Trump and all that. Tucker, I don't think he needs.
I know exactly.
I know
exactly who I would. I know exactly who I would interview. If I were Tucker Carlson,
your first interview, who would it be?
I know exactly who I would interview, and I think you guys out there will agree. If I were Tucker Carlson, who can interview almost anyone in the world that he wants, he's pretty well connected. It would not be Andrew Tate. It would be Giselle Maxwell. She's in prison here in Florida, and
that would be good.
And
that would be good.
He could go to prison and interview Giselle Maxwell and get as much. That would be amazing.
She's another sex trafficker, and she was arrested. For
that's
sex
political.
Trafficking.
That's political.
There's a political.
There's a political connection with all the Democrats and everything that are connected with it. That would be
only if she names names.
Interview one,
then it would be good.
Yeah,
only if she names names.
Another interview that I would do if I were Tucker Carlson, although it might be problematic because this trial going on.
Somebody who's not a sex trafficker.
Well, it's hard. Kevin Spacey.
Oh my God! There you go.
That would be another good one.
There's another guy who's going to
People
court
like sex stuff.
over. I guess you're hung up on the sex thing, but he's in court now in London.
But there's
for grooming.
But there's an Epstein connection with Kevin Spacey and Clinton.
Can you name somebody that has not committed a sex crime?
Not if you're talking about Democrats. I mean,
What about a Republican you'd interview? Somebody interesting. I mean,
other than Trump,
he's interviewed DeSantis. I think. Nobody cares about.
There aren't
DeSantis.
that many interesting people out there that you can really get. I think Giselle Maxwell would be a big one because she's got a lot to tell.
That would be a big one.
Yeah.
If she names names, like I said.
And he could do a whole thing on the Epstein. That would be beautiful.
That would really freak a lot of people out.
It would scare people. That everybody would be talking.
And everybody would watch that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Can she give an interview from prison?
Yes. Bundy was in prison here in Florida. He was doing interviews like all day, every day.
You told me something interesting. The Menendez brothers. Now, Brian and I watched a movie about them with Harry Hamlin. It was very good. Harry Hamlin played one of their lawyers. And after I saw that movie, I was like, maybe these guys should be let out of jail. I mean, they definitely killed their father and mother. But the one brother had been sexually abused by his father his whole life. And the judge would not allow it into the court when they went to trial. They had a hung jury the first time, and the judge hated their lawyer so much, I can't remember her name, the lady with the frizzy hair, that he refused to allow any evidence of sexual abuse into the second trial. And now you said there's new evidence.
Well, they got two things with
that's come out that they might let them out of jail.
There's two things with the Menendez brothers. Their story is that they're molested by the father. And there's a guy who was in Menudo, and
wasn't Ricky
Menudo,
Martin, was it?
the Menendez brothers' father was an executive with the record company that had the deal with Menudo.
That's right.
And this guy from Menudo said that he was drugged by the father and he had his way with him. And there's also a letter that one of the brothers, whichever one says he was molested, Eric, to his cousin before the murders, before everything, talking about everything his dad was doing to him.
Yeah.
So they killed the mother too.
Right. Well, because according to this movie, she was molesting them too. And you can make the case that the older brother Lyle was protecting his younger brother, because according to the movie and according to what happened, Eric was still living at home. He was like 19 and he was still being raped by the father. And this had been going on his whole life since he was like 7, 8 years old, and he was under his control. And he called Lyle and told him, and Lyle came to the house and they killed their parents. And so you can make the case he was protecting him, but they did lie to the police. They did try to hide the evidence, and they went out and spent a bunch of money a month later, which was stupid.
Yeah, they were living large.
But he was molested and raped over and over again. And I think when you're dealing with somebody who's been molested by their father, especially, a boy is a girl, but a boy would be really bad. They're both bad, but you know what I mean? That if you're molested by your father and you're a boy, I would think that you are very messed up in the head and not thinking clearly. You're not thinking rationally, and you just want to end that nightmare that you're living in. And I think his brother could make the argument he was protecting him. Their behavior after was not good. But I'm wondering do you think they're going to have another trial? And
I don't know.
And now there's people thinking they can get Scott Peterson out of jail, the one who killed his wife, Lacey.
Yeah, good luck with that. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to support the program by becoming a patron of the program, there's a link in the episode description. And all Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of our podcast episode. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on each and every podcast. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Mike P, Rome, Wisconsin, Macho, Wesley, Nick, Rick, Carlos, Paulette, John, Arctic Fox, David, Richard, and Melissa. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you for your support. And again, there's a link in the episode description to our Patreon page. There's a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. And the direct website address is patreon.com/real Brian Craig Show. We'll be right back.
Are you a sports fan looking to show off your team's spirit? Or maybe a chess enthusiast in search of a truly remarkable chess set? Look no further than Masapalami on Etsy, your one-stop shop for personalized sports gear and exquisite chess sets. Picture this, a custom baseball jersey with your name, your number, and your logo proudly displayed. Whether you're hitting the field or cheering from the stands, Masapalami has you covered. You'll be captivated by the luxurious chess sets. They're crafted with the utmost care and precision. These premium sets are made from walnut, leather, solid copper, and even resin. Each piece tells a story and adds an element of elegance to your chess matches. Visit Masapalami on Etsy right now at etsy.com/shop/Masapalami. That's MASUPILAMI. Masapalami on Etsy, where sports and chess collide. Shop now at etsy.com/shop/Masapalami. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of a healthier, more vibrant life? Look no further than lifewave.com/revive39. There, you will find a groundbreaking health technology company that's dedicated to honoring the light of life and harnessing the body's natural energy to reverse aging and maximize human potential. Their mission is simple: to empower you to live in the light, maximize your human potential with transformative health technology that enhances and extends lives. And now, they're inviting you to become a part of an incredible journey as a brand partner. As a brand partner, not only will you market the most innovative products, but also you'll be part of a modernized compensation plan. Their uplifting community of like-minded entrepreneurs from all around the world will surround you like a family, supporting your success every step of the way. Imagine being part of a purposeful community where heart-to-heart connections and shared passion for wellness create a powerful synergy. Go right now to lifewave.com/revive39. That's lifewave.com/revive39 to learn more and start building your own business. Lifewave.com/revive39. Your path to a brighter future begins now. Lifewave.com/revive39. Lifewave.com/revive39. Are you searching for a thought-provoking and enlightening read? Then add The Collected Writings of Leon Snow Jr. from author Leon Snow to your must-read list. Available on Amazon. The Collected Writings of Leon Snow Jr. is a unique blend of universally themed poetry and timely articles about the discussion of the current state of our nation and its convoluted history. The author's work offers a rare authenticity that truly speaks to the heart of social justice and humanity. With perfect illustrations, author Leon Snow skillfully captures the hurdles faced by Black individuals in our country and the remarkable contributions that have shaped it into what it is today. Thoroughly researched, The Collected Writings of Leon Snow Jr. is not only appealing, but also easy to read and digest. It holds the power to give us all a better understanding of who we are and the roles we are expected to play. Order your copy of The Collected Writings of Leon Snow Jr., available on Amazon, and embark on a journey of knowledge, insight, and self-discovery.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, so much for tuning in. All right, so Eric Holder was on the Sunday shows. They love talking about Trump pardons, like he's done something that he should be pardoned for. And listen, this is Eric Holder talking about a pardon of Trump.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you to put on your Attorney General hat again. Would you counsel President Biden or the next president, whoever that is, to consider a pardon of the 45th president of the United States, either before or after?
Can't say his name. Right, she can't say President Trump.
He's Voldemort.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, to consider a pardon of the 45th president of the United States, either before or after a theoretical conviction.
I think I'd tell the president, the next attorney general, to let the system do its work, try the cases, see what the results are, and then treat that convicted president or anybody else who is convicted as any other person would be treated. Pardons generally are for people who express remorse and then who have done things that shows that they have turned their lives around. If those kinds of determinations can be made with regard to the former president or anybody else who was convicted, yeah, I would support that. In the absence of something like that, I don't think that would be a wise thing to do.
Mr. Eric Holder, former Attorney General, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Screw off. Okay, so Eric Holder, now, but Eric Holder here. Okay, a couple things about Eric Holder with this Trump pardon. He always was. Eric Holder was involved in the very controversial pardons that Bill Clinton gave in his final hours as president, including that one to Frank Rich, to the donor. Remember, they were donors and they bought a pardon. Remember that? And Eric Holder signed off on a guy who bought a pardon. Okay. Another thing about Eric Holder, between the time of the Clinton and Obama administrations, okay, he was an attorney in one of those big shot, Eric Holder, one of those big shot Washington law firms. Eric Holder was an attorney personally representing Al-Qaeda terrorists held in Guantanamo Bay.
Crazy.
And did he have them come out and admit remorse and all this? To Eric Holder thinks Trump is a bigger criminal than these Al-Qaedas.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
And in this, that Frank Rich pardon, where the donor bought a pardon from Bill Clinton, was so high profile of an incident. And of course, this is that Brennan girl that's on the weekend shows. She doesn't bring that controversial part. There were some others too. It's been a long time since Clinton left office. It's been over 20 years. So I can't remember off the top of my head. Remember those Puerto Rican nationalist terrorists that he pardoned? Bill Clinton pardoned the Hasidic Jews that were involved in something. Remember that from that town in New York? So they'd support Hillary.
Yeah, she got elected.
In the Senate run. Right. The same thing. The Puerto Rican terrorist. Eric Holder was involved in signing off on some of the most controversial bought and paid for pardons in the history of the pardoning by president system. Okay. And he's saying that Trump, first off, I don't think Trump should be pardoned either because he's done no crime. And I want the judge or the court to clear his name. But these reporters in Washington are sick.
Yeah.
So you wanted to talk about Joy Reid?
Yeah, I tell you, that was all over Twitter today. I know you played the clip this morning where she admitted she was led into Harvard from affirmative action.
Only because of affirmative
I think
action.
she's going to regret saying that. It's all over Twitter. And this is the problem with she's a perfect example of the problem with affirmative action. I'm not saying she didn't have good grades. I don't know. I'm assuming she did.
Maybe.
But she said they actively went out. I'm sure she did. And they're saying they actively went out and sought her in this small town in Denver. I don't know how they found her. But anyway, some guidance counselor must have done something. She applied, and who knows. But I'm not saying she didn't have the grades to get in, but they actively went out recruiting and bringing in people that were black to boost up their black for affirmative action, to boost up their black level of kids there. And she said Clarence Thomas and Ketanji Brown were also. So we have 2 Supreme Court justices. Look, the problem with affirmative, and I don't know if that's true about Clarence Thomas or Ketanji. I have no clue. She maybe wants to lump herself
Joy
in with
Reid
them.
just assumes anyone who's black and successful.
I guess so.
Like her.
I guess
is
so.
affirmative action.
So I don't know if I believe that or not. But the thing with affirmative action is now we understand why Joy Reid is such an angry woman, because she has a huge chip on her shoulder. And now we know why. Not only because she hates white people, but because she got into college on an affirmative action, and she knows that she probably wouldn't have happened any other way. And she's embarrassed by that. And she knows that now that everybody knows that, but I'm sure people in her inner circle have known that. And you told me she was a film major. She wasn't even a communications major who goes to Harvard and studies film. I mean, I didn't even know they had a film school there. I mean, people that go to Harvard usually become, is she an attorney? I don't know. I don't think they become lawyers or doctors.
Well, a Harvard degree.
But in film?
And film, I've never heard of that either.
No.
And I am
go to school in NYU or something.
Yeah. But having a Harvard degree, no matter what it's in, is, to me, it's like a golden ticket in life. If you can walk in anywhere with a Harvard degree and be hired on the spot.
No, I know, but if she's so smart, isn't it strange that was her major?
That to me is like one of the dumbest majors anybody could do.
I mean, I don't get it. So that makes me question it. But there's a stigma attached to people that get in on affirmative action. And you could see how angry she is because of this stigma. She's embarrassed. And another thing is she got so pissed off that the white students accused her of getting in on affirmative action. Well, she did. So they were just saying the truth. But it clearly bothers her that they would even say that to her, even though that's the truth of what happened. And they were only pointing that out. And that doesn't make them racist or bigoted. That just means, you're only here because you're black. That's not a good thing. I don't think affirmative action is a good thing at all. I don't think anybody should get accepted into a job or a college or anything based on their skin color. Now, and you also mentioned Harvard is a very liberal institution. Why would Harvard, which is a liberal institution, even need to have affirmative action?
That's right.
Have to go out and recruit black people.
It should be a utopia of diversity because it's
ridiculous.
liberal.
I don't think your name – now, getting into Harvard, I'm sure – I would imagine, unless you graduate, the kid at my school that graduated valedictorian, Scott was his name. And I remember I was sitting at graduation next to this kid that I was friends with who was going to community college. And he was making fun of this kid, the valedictorian, right? He had a 6.9 GPA or 5.9 or something. He was super smart. And that was before they had college prep classes or college credits.
He had all advanced classes.
All advanced classes. He had like a 5.9 GPA. Yeah. And I had AP history with him, so I knew him. And this kid next to me was making fun of him because he was very geeky. I mean, this guy had no girlfriends. And I said to him, you know what? I said, that guy's got a full ride to Harvard. And I said, in 10 years, he'll be a multimillionaire and he'll have a supermodel wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so trust me, Harvard really only takes people that are like valedictorians of the class, is my point. Okay, you cannot just get into Harvard. You have to have like an impeccable record in school. That is the elite of the elite. And I would love to know, now she's opened this door. I would love to know what her grades were like. And I can promise you she was not the elite. I'm not saying she had horrible grades and maybe she did okay on her SAT. But Harvard is not a big college. It's not like where I went to school where there were 30,000 kids. Okay, there's maybe, 10,000 students there?
I don't know.
they can be extremely picky, and they bring in people that are at the top of probably the top 2 kids, the valedictorian and the salutatorian is like all who could get in. So what makes her so special? Because she's black. And to me, that's a horrible reason to get into an Ivy League school. It's for the best and the most elite.
What people are going to start saying is she's not really that great on TV. So is this affirmative action too
exactly.
at MSNBC?
So, and she knows that, and that's why she's so angry all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like affirmative action. There's a stigma. She could have gone to University of Denver or another college. She wouldn't be on TV though. And had a good education and been fine and everything and done well in life, I'm sure, maybe. But she knows she got in when she wasn't qualified. And she got in because of the color of her skin. And she's embarrassed and she's upset by it.
She's also unqualified to have a primetime show on national television.
And this is what's made her so bitter her whole life.
Well, listen, we're out of time, but we'll be back next time, guys. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.